Have you noticed how women today carry themselves differently in public, whether it's at the mall, at the gym, or even just walking down the street? They're not smiling as much, they're more guarded, and sometimes it feels like they're in their own world. But here's the twist, this shift isn't just about what women want. It's about what men aren't doing. Men are no longer approaching the way they used to, and women are adapting. They're changing their body language, their attitude, and even their lifestyle in response. And the wild part? Most men don't even realize how much influence they have on these changes. Today, we're breaking down the psychology behind it, why women are doing this, what it means for men, and how it's reshaping the entire dating landscape. Not too long ago, it was almost expected, men made the first move. Whether it was walking across the bar, striking up a conversation at the gym, or simply approaching a woman on the street, that was the standard script. But today? Things look different. More and more men are holding back. Some stay silent because they fear rejection. Others worry about being labeled as creepy or too forward. And many convince themselves that women just aren't approachable anymore. The result? Approaches that used to be normal have become rare, and women have started adapting in ways most people don't talk about. This is where it gets fascinating. Women are adjusting their behavior, their appearance, even their mindset, not always because it's what they truly want, but because they're responding to what men aren't doing. These subtle changes reveal powerful truths about female psychology, gender dynamics, and the way modern dating culture is evolving right before our eyes. And here's my promise, by the end of this video, you'll not only understand why women are doing this, but also what it means for attraction, confidence, and relationships in today's world. If you've ever wondered why women seem different now compared to years ago, or why dating feels so complicated, this breakdown will give you the clarity you've been looking for. 1. Women are becoming more independent. Let's start with the first major shift, women are becoming more independent. Many men think, if I don't approach her, she'll just carry on with her life. No big deal. And on the surface, that's true, she will carry on. But what's happening underneath is deeper than most men realize. Here's the psychology: independence, for many women, is not just a preference, it's a survival mechanism. When women aren't approached, when they feel invisible in public spaces, they adapt by redirecting that energy. Instead of waiting for connection, they channel it into building their careers, traveling, developing hobbies, or strengthening friendships. In other words, they create fulfillment on their own terms. And this creates a powerful paradox. The more independent women become, the less they seem to need men, which, to many guys, reads as disinterest. But in reality, it's not that she doesn't want connection, it's that she refuses to pause her life in hopes that someone will approach. A woman who isn't approached at the cafe doesn't sit there waiting. She starts working on her laptop, she invests in herself, she builds her world. And by the time a man finally considers approaching, she's already projected an aura of independence that makes her seem even harder to reach. A woman focusing on herself doesn't necessarily mean she doesn't want attention. It means she's not going to wait for it. Independence is her way of taking back control in an environment where approaches are becoming rarer. 2. Women signal differently. The second big shift is this: women are signaling differently. Most guys believe that if a woman is interested, she'll make it obvious. If she doesn't smile, wave, or outright start the conversation, they assume she's not into them. And here's where the misunderstanding happens: most women never make it that direct. Female psychology works on subtlety. For generations, women relied on small cues, lingering eye contact, a gentle smile, a slight lean toward you, even something as simple as dropping a comment that invites you to respond. These were the green lights. But as approaches have declined, many women feel like those signals are being ignored or wasted. So, what happens? They stop giving them. Why would she hold eye contact if no one responds? Why smile if men assume it's just being friendly? Over time, women conserve their energy. They become more reserved, not because they don't want to connect, but because they've learned that subtle cues often lead to nothing. Men who can still pick up on those faint signals stand out immediately. Because in a world where women have almost stopped signaling, the man who notices a brief glance, a slight smile, or a shift in body language, and responds confidently, but respectfully, instantly separates himself from the crowd. The irony? Most men are waiting for women to be more obvious, while women are waiting for men to notice the subtle cues. That gap in communication is one of the biggest reasons connections never happen in the first place. 3. Women build emotional walls. The third shift is all about emotional walls. It often looks simple: she looks unapproachable, so why bother? You see a woman with her headphones in, her arms crossed, or her eyes glued to her phone, and the signal seems obvious: she doesn't want to be approached. And because of that assumption, most men don't even try. But here's what psychology tells us: what looks like coldness on the outside is often just a defense mechanism. Women who aren't approached consistently, or who've had negative experiences with unwanted attention, start projecting guarded energy. They appear serious, focused, or busy not because they never want connection, but because it feels safer to protect themselves from disappointment or rejection. Think of it as armor. Instead of leaving themselves open, they wear a mask of confidence, distraction, or even indifference. To men, it reads as, "She's not interested." But to women, it feels like protection from vulnerability, from judgment, from the sting of being overlooked. But wait, what are waiting for? Hit the like button and subscribe to help grow this channel. Thank you. What looks like rejection is often just a shield. That serious face or closed-off body language doesn't always mean, "Don't talk to me." More often, it means, "If you're going to approach, show me it's worth lowering my guard." The key is this: approaching with genuine kindness, not arrogance, not games, is what breaks through those walls. A simple, authentic interaction can disarm the shield faster than anything else. Confidence gets you in the door, but sincerity keeps it open. 4. Women rely more on social media. The fourth shift is happening online. Women are relying more on social media. It often sounds like this: if she really wanted to meet someone, she'd be more approachable in real life. She wouldn't always be glued to her phone. But here's the reality: men pulling back from real-life approaches has actually pushed women further into the online world. Psychology explains it this way: when human beings lack attention or affirmation in one area, they naturally seek it somewhere else. For women, social media has become that substitute. The likes, the comments, the fire emojis and the DMs. They've taken the place of those little moments of real-life validation, like a man starting a conversation at the coffee shop or giving a genuine compliment on the street. Over time, this shift creates a cycle. The less women are approached in person, the more they post online. The more they post online, the more they appear consumed by their digital world, and to men observing from the outside, it looks like, she's just not interested in real connection. But in truth, she's adapting to the lack of in-person interactions by finding connection in the easiest available space. If it feels like women are more online than in person, it's not just vanity or distraction, it's adaptation. Social media has become the modern marketplace of attention. For men, this means that approaching in real life is actually more valuable now than ever, because it cuts through the noise of hundreds of likes and comments with something women rarely get anymore: genuine, face-to-face interaction. 5. Women adjust standards. The fifth shift is one most men complain about: women are adjusting their standards. It often sounds like this: she's too picky. She only wants the guy with money, looks, or status. And on the surface, it does seem that way, like women have raised the bar so high that very few men can qualify. But here's the psychology behind it: when women aren't being approached, they often create a defense mechanism to protect themselves from the sting of rejection or invisibility. Instead of admitting, "No one's approaching me right now," the mind reframes it: "I'm not interested in just anyone. I'm only holding out for the perfect man." This way, a lack of approaches doesn't feel like rejection, it feels like choice. The raised standards become a shield that helps women protect their self-esteem. In their mind, they're not being overlooked, they're just being selective. And here's where the irony comes in, the very thing men think disqualifies them. Confidence in approaching actually bypasses this filter. When a man steps up with clarity, calmness, and genuine interest, it signals something powerful. I'm not afraid of your wall. I see your value, and I know my own. That presence alone often makes a bigger impact than looks, money, or status. Confidence itself is a form of value. A man who respectfully approaches in a world where most men hold back already separates himself from the crowd. And often, that simple act is enough to break through the illusion of impossible standards. Underscore 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 underscore. 6. Women create their own happiness. The sixth and final shift is this: women are creating their own happiness. It often comes across as, she doesn't need a man. And in many ways, that's true. But here's the nuance: this isn't always how women start out. It's largely a reaction to the decline in approaches. When women notice that men aren't stepping forward, they learn to fill that emotional gap themselves. They pour energy into their friendships, they travel, they invest in self-discovery and personal growth. They create lives that feel full without relying on anyone else to make them happy. Now, this doesn't mean women don't want connection, it means they no longer depend on it. And that's a huge shift in psychology. Approaching a woman today isn't about offering her what she lacks. She already has happiness, purpose, and fulfillment in her world. The question is, can you add to it? Can you bring value, joy, and stability to a life that's already rich on its own? That's the new challenge men face in modern dating, not filling a void, but complementing a life she's already built. So let's pull everything together. What we've seen so far is this: women aren't just changing randomly, they're adapting because men have pulled back. Independence, emotional walls, reliance on social media, higher standards, even creating their own happiness, these are not rejections of men. They're survival strategies. Here's the real-life insight. For men, this means you need to shift your perspective. When you see a woman who looks distant, busy, or unapproachable, it doesn't automatically mean she's not interested. More often than not, she's simply adapted to a world where men rarely take the initiative anymore. That means when you do approach with confidence and respect, you immediately stand out. For women, there's a flip side. While these adaptations protect your self-esteem and help you stay fulfilled, they can also unintentionally push away the very connection you're open to. A guarded look, a wall of independence, or an over-reliance on online spaces might be misread as disinterest by the men who would actually approach. And here's the core truth: psychology shows us this has become a feedback loop. Men don't approach, so women adapt. Women adapt, men misinterpret those adaptations as rejection. That misinterpretation convinces men to approach even less. And the cycle keeps repeating. Breaking that loop requires awareness on both sides. Men need to understand that what they see as rejection is often just a shield, and women need to recognize that their adaptations, while protective, sometimes send the wrong signals. The moment both sides see this clearly, the dynamic shifts. So let's bring it all home. When you see women acting more independent, more guarded, or less receptive, remember, this isn't always about what they want. More often, it's about what men aren't doing. Women are adapting to a culture where approaches are rare, and those adaptations can easily be misread as disinterest. Now, here's what I want to hear from you. Do you think men should start approaching again, or has dating permanently shifted into the online world? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm curious to hear both men's and women's perspectives, because this conversation affects everyone. And if today's breakdown gave you clarity, do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a deep dive like this. Also, don't miss my next video. If this video gave you clarity, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And don't miss my next video. It's about the hidden signs women give when they actually want you to approach. Trust me, you won't want to miss it.